Hello everyone. It's been a long time since I made a video. I've just been so busy with work and school. I apologize. I have not had time, or to be honest, even thought about making a video. Life has been extreme as of late. But today I really just wanted to make a video talking about kind of like my transition going from your standard pocket knife to multi-tools really being all consuming for me. This tool here has really bridged the gap and has been the closest thing I've carried to a dedicated pocket knife in quite a while. If you're not familiar, this is the Leatherman K4X, and this guy's pretty neat because it has the same lock and operating system as the Leatherman Free multi-tools, P2, P4, ARC, all those guys. Same lock, you can kind of flick it shut. It's actually a really strong lock too. But a couple neat things about this guy. It's got a full length blade. I believe it's 3.3 inch cutting edge. Partial serrations. I'm not really the biggest serration fan, unless it is, say, a multi-tool that has a dedicated plain edge and then also a serrated blade. I'm not a huge combo blade guy, but this one's actually not bad. So if you can see here, yes, it is partially serrated, but you have a lot of plain edge. So when you're holding it, you have a lot of room here to cut with without having to get the serrations involved. And that not only makes it easier to sharpen, in my opinion, you don't have to involve the serrations if you don't want to. You have enough cutting edge here to where you can actually just use a plain edge knife. Couple really cool things about this guy, the K4 specifically, because they do have a K2 that's a thinner version, but the K2 doesn't have these awesome scissors. So these are going to be the same scissors that you'll see on the ARC, the P4, the P2. They're awesome. In my opinion, still not as great as the Victorinox scissors. I don't think anyone would argue with me on that. This is my mainstay EDC 90% of the time. Swiss Champ. It has taken over my life. It is the perfect pocket tool, in my opinion. It's a little heavy, it's a little chunky, but there's nothing. You could build a house with this thing. Might be exaggerating a little bit, but pretty much you have all the things that you need. So I highly recommend getting the Swiss Champ. But yeah, so we have the scissors. And then if we move on, again, anyone that's familiar with the free stuff, it's the same system. You just magnetic, you just pop it out. We got the combo, Phillips driver, bottle opener. Absolutely love this one. Fits most of your Phillips, but this thing is super handy. You go to barbecue, anything like that. Got this guy in your pocket, you can pop open any sort of drink you want to have, and it works really well. And then we have the older style awl. I really like the older style awl. Not only does it have more reach for the smaller driver, but my opinion, I feel like it just works better. They changed it. They changed it a bit on the ARC. They made it smaller. It's a different design. But I always favored this one. I think this one's better. And also, what you don't get on the ARC is you don't get the sewing eye. So I know a lot of people had an issue with that. Longer cutting surface for when you're driving into things. I think it's much better. And then we also have this tool here, which is going to be your larger driver, also like package opener, clamshell opener. I think it's actually supposed to be used for like hard plastic packages. You can just dig it into the corner and cut out whatever you need. That also works really great. I'm a huge fan of that. Again, same new style Leatherman pocket clip, works awesome. This guy's a little thick, but for a multi-tool with a full-length blade, I mean, you got to give somewhere. And in my opinion, in this guy, because it tapers up towards the top, your finger kind of curls in there, and it's like a little thinner up top, and it has a really, it fills out your hand really nicely. So if you're actually doing heavy cutting, this thing's really great for that. Definitely an awesome tool. But not only did I want to show off the K4X today, I really just wanted to show off some of the stuff that I've been carrying the most, and also kind of wanted to get some opinions from some other people on what their favorite multi-tool is, or what they think the best multi-tool is, for EDC. I'm always looking around trying to see if there's something that fits the needs, if there's something else that would be maybe more ideal for me to carry. And I just like checking out new stuff. It's you guys, myself, I think that's kind of what we're into. We're just into all the different gear and finding a use for something, even if you really don't need it. As I've shown you guys previously in some shorts, the Swiss tool has been awesome. I'll argue till I'm blue in the face with anyone. This is one of the finest multi-tools ever made, period. It rivals the size of the Leatherman Surge, and don't get me wrong, Surge is king, especially with those big shear scissors. They're awesome. This does have some things on it that people have argued with me on. I heavily disagree. I've had multiple Leatherman Surges. I've used the Leatherman Surges very hard in blue collar work, trade work, where I'm actually using my stuff. This guy, a little lighter. I don't need to use my stuff quite as hard as I used to. Things have changed work-wise, but as far as fit and finish, build quality, aesthetically, this thing's gorgeous. But out of the box, these guys are just butter smooth. There's nothing more satisfying than a broken-in Leatherman, a Surge or a Wave and whatnot. But sometimes I really wish they could just make them nice and smooth, like Victorinox has done. And the pocket clips on these guys are great. The other thing that's nice, I like the knife on these guys. People always complain about the softness of the Victorinox steel. Maybe it's my use case, but I really feel like these things hold up just fine. And majority of the time, you can hone them up with just like a ceramic rod or even strop them back to life, and they work fine. And they might not be as premium of a steel, because God knows what Victorinox uses. They won't tell anybody. The blade geometry on all their knives is so good. It's so thin. It's such a thin blade stock, which in my experience and opinion, in a day-to-day use case for what most people are using their knives for, I want a full flat grind. I want it to be a thin blade. I want to be able to use the knife for what a knife is supposed to be used for, to cut stuff. I don't need a folding pry bar, especially when we're talking in the multi-tool world, when I have other tools on here that I can use for prying tasks. I want the thinnest blade possible. And these guys have it. Even on their full size, their biggest multi-tool here, the Swiss tool, the blade is so thin. Don't have my caliper on me, or I would measure it. But it's extremely thin. It's under 100 thou thick, for sure. And it worked great. The Phillips driver. Awesome. 3D driver, no thin little wonky stuff like the Leatherman does. These guys work. They do. And the biggest thing I think you get with this style tool, where it's thinner, is that you can pack it into the tool easier. It's just thinner. It's more congruent with all the other stuff that's going on in there, and I get it. But when you can get away with doing a full driver, how Victorinox does, love it. It's great. It just feels more robust. Theoretically, I guess it is. And this thing's just been fantastic. I mean, you have your file. This file is sick. Super long. I swear to you guys, I use this thing. It's just not showing anywhere at all. And I think that's mostly just because of the finishes they use, this like high gloss finish. If you look at it in the right light, you can see some little scuffs and whatnot, but really, it's been great. You get a little chisel tip here, wire stripper. This guy's awesome. Let's see if I can get my nail in here. The saw is really nice. Got really aggressive teeth on there. What's some other ones that I really like to use? Of course, these Victorinox scissors. They just cut so good. I think I've blunted these guys a tiny bit, but they still work awesome. But yeah, these have been kind of like my mainstays. Swiss Champ does majority of the things I need. I did have a little like carabiner hook on here to hook it in my pocket, but I just got so sick of it having to like clip it and try to dig it out of my pocket. I haven't found a great clip solution for Swiss Champs or this XL size, like the Cyber Tools and whatnot. If you have any suggestions, I would love to hear it. And of course, the K4X. But yeah, please let me know if you guys have a multi-tool or anything that you think would be a good fit or anything I should check out. Please drop a comment and let me know. I have been wanting to check out a Gerber center drive, but the reviews have been so hit or miss, and they're not really cheap. So I'd love to hear about that too. Any of you guys have been long-term users of the Gerber center drive, let me know your experience, because it's really hard to get an actual objective opinion from someone. Everything I see seems biased from people that are just diehard Gerber people that were, you know, maybe people that were service members that carried MP600s when they were enlisted. They tend to always say great things about the Gerber multi-tools, but I guess I might have to just check it out myself to find out. But thanks, guys. Again, I appreciate all the support. I try to be more consistent with my uploads, but my schedule has just been nuts. So, and this isn't the highest quality content. This is a tabletop reviews, and but you got to start somewhere, I guess. But thanks, guys. Hope everyone has a great day.